guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Heather Salter-Purves, queer fantasy author. This is my hearthside where I talk about my reading, writing and life journeys, and today I thought I'd take you along on a book haul. I have just noticed I have been piling up books from sales, giveaways, and one book that I forgot I pre-ordered that turned up on my lovely doorstep. So this is pretty much all the physical books that have entered my house in Q3. Yes, Q3 of 2025. That there is 18 books have entered my household. Physical books have entered. So I thought I'd run through them with you. So in this, I've grouped them as in special or pretty sprayed editions, indie authors, some classics, and then just standard paperbacks. So without further ado, let's dive on in. Is a queer book, which I believe has gone from an indie published to a self-trad pub, which is The Prince Without Sorrow by Maithree Wijesekara. I'm so sorry. It's pretty. It's got a sparkly tiger on it. And it goes, Welcome to Ran Empire, where winged serpents fly through the skies and witches burn blue as they die. Prince Aeschlimann is considered an outcast for opposing his father's empire, Aeschlimann's brutal destruction of the witches after the murder of his aunt at the hands of the Emperor. Shishki vows retribution despite being bound by the pacifist code. In her anger, she casts a violent curse, the consequences in which will leave both the prince and her grappling with power. Do they take it and risk becoming what they hate most, or do they risk losing it as the world around them is destroyed? Fate now rests in the hands of two sworn enemies. So, really looking forward to this one. I then picked up a graphic novel called Coven by Soman. So it's the author of The School for Good and Evil. Graphic novels are always good and fun. You need your magical crime solved, called The Witch Coven. Hester, Annadelle, and Dot are legendary across the endless woods as vigilante detectives and protectors of peace. The famed trio are not only talented witches but also ride and die friends who have never left a case unsolved. That is until the Coven answers a call for help from a mysterious new world, the Red Isle, where the light and dark lands on the brink of all-out war, each blaming the other for a grim spree of deaths. Now the Coven must work together and unmask the killer before Red Isle tears itself apart. Little do they know the real enemy might be hiding in plain sight. So it's also just beautiful artwork. Always do appreciate a good graphic novel. I then had the sequel book. This is The Shadow Bride by Shelby, who is the Serpent and Dove trilogy author. So this is the sequel to, yes, Scarlet Veil. So yours will be a fate worse than death. So soon life is over, she takes her final breath trying to save the people she loves, including the enigmatic vampire king, Michael, who refuses to let her go. But when something wakes, she cannot walk in the sun and she craves her friend's blood. Michael has cursed her eternal existence as a vampire. She isn't the only undead roaming the earth. Her sister Philippa has returned as a shadow in her former self, and other remnants of the rising in the graves intend on revenge. The fragile balance between life and death has broken, awakening an even darker force, and he's coming for Selena, ready to claim her as his bride. I just also generally love this cover. It's very my vibe, spooky. So the next one is also a beautiful cover as well. It's The Nightweaver by R.M. Gray. The 17-year-old pirate Asta Oberon and her family life at sea has been a refuge from Nightweavers. mystical beings with elemental power that rule the lands. But when Oberons are finally defeated in an epic battle that shatters Ash's world, they are thrust into a new life to live among the very beings they hate. Handsome Nightweaver Will and his brooding brother Henry show Asta uncharacteristic mercy by offering the family employment on their opulent estate. Despite her hatred of his kind, Asta finds her attraction to Will grow by the day. Will this illicit romance and chilling secrets lie hidden at the heart of the Bloodgrave Manor, unravel everything she's known, loved and fought for. It goes, filled with elemental magic, breathtaking twists, and a propulsive and enemies to lovers romantasy, perfect for fans of Art Palace and The Crimson Moth. I've read The Crimson Moth, I quite liked it, so interested to dive into this. If you're looking for a pirate book. I then have Dragonfall by L.M. Lim. The last male dragon, a desperate thief, a bond that will save the world or shatter it. Long ago, humans betrayed dragons, stealing their magic and banishing them to the dying land. Centuries later, their descendants worship dragons as gods, but the gods remember and they don't forget. Ooh, spoopy. Since they were orphaned, Arcade has been scraping a living, thieving on the streets of Vatara, dreaming a life among the noble and revenge when the chance arises to steal a powerful artifact from the bones of the Plague Bringer, the most hated person in Lemon history. They jump at it, for the magic holds the key to their dreams, but the spell has unintended consequences and drags Everin, the last male dragon who has once foretold to save his kind, into the human world. Trapped and disguised as a human, Everin soon realizes that the key to his destiny and to regaining his true power lies in Erin. All he needs to do is convince one little thief to bond with him completely, mind, body and soul, and then kill them. Yet the closer the two become, the greater the risk that both them worlds will shatter. So that's really interesting. I then had the privilege of meeting this debut author of a sapphic spicy mythology telling, and that is Olivia O'Flynn's Everblessed. She was made of magic and wrath. I would never have chosen you. In a world fractured by belief in gods lie to the ever. Ancient magic that sustains the known world, but when ever is failing and the gods have turned their wrath to the Everblessed, those gifted with access to its power, Captain Elvin, a warrior princess of Veteran, is, as her realm's last hope for peace, promised in marriage to a handsome yet infuriating Finnan. She must navigate the fragile alliance and her growing feelings for the one person she cannot trust. Meanwhile, Innes, a witch desperate to conceal her bond with the Ever, embarks on a perilous quest to cure the blight upon the land, but her path collides with the deadly veteran warrior, forcing her to choose between dangerous love and salvation of her people. As ancient powers awaken and the alliances crumble, Elva and Innes must decide where their loyalties lie, love or duty, freedom or fate, as the wrong choice means losing everything to the vengeance of the gods. I also did meet her, and she signed it for me and personalised and got me a little stamp, so that's very exciting. I then also picked up a folk horror book. I then was sent and gifted in a book fairy exchange a folk horror book I've had an eye on for ages, and that is The Bone House by Emily Lloyd Jones. No warrior could stop the risen dead, but perhaps the gravedigger could. 17-year-old Ren cares about only two things, her family and her family's grave, And right now, both are the dire straits. Since the death of her parents, Ren and her siblings have been scraping together a meagre existence as gravediggers in the remote village of Coven, which sits at the foot of a harsh and deadly mountain range that has once home to the Fae. The problem with being a gravedigger in Coven, though, is that the dead don't always stay dead. The risen corpses are known as bone houses, and legend says that they are results of decade-old curses. When Ellis, an apprentice map maker with a mysterious past, arrives in town, the bone houses attack with a new ferocity. What is with that draws them near, and more importantly, how can they be stopped for good? Together, Ellis and Ren embark on a journey that will take them into the heart of the mountains, where they will be faced both with the curse and the deeply buried truth about themselves. Equal parts classic horror novel and original fairy tale. The Bone Houses will have you spellbound from the very first page. Also just generally beautiful cover. So bit of a folk horror classic gothy thing. I then move on to 3 classics that I want to get to. It was a sort of multi-buy. So I've never read it. I really like Wicked. It is one of my favourite musicals, but I've never actually read the original The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. I was not aware how small this was or short, so I really want to get to that. So as you know, Dorothy thinks that she's lost forever in a terrifying tornado that crashes through Kansas, and then she wakes up in the wonderful magical world of Oz. To return home, she has to follow the yellow brick road to the Emerald City and meet the Tin Woodman, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion, whom embark to save the enchanting world. As you know, I then picked up a good gothic story, which is the portrait of Dorian Gray. So big gothic by Oscar Wilde. His only full-length novel. He wrote a beautiful young man with an angelic countenance. When a painter captures his beauty on canvas, it sets into motion Dorian's descent into madness, having bartered his soul with an eternal exquisite youth. So as he ages, he doesn't. Like, Dorian doesn't grow old, but the portrait displays his age. And then I picked up The Inferno by Dante. I've never read this. I know about it. I want to read it. So this is, the 9 cycles of hell. Virgil descents into hell. It begins on Good Friday. As he wanders through the dark forest, Dante loses his way and stumbles across the ghost of a poet. Virgil promises to lead him back to the top of the mountain, but to do so they must pass through hell, encountering all manners of shocking horrors, sins, evil torments along the way, invoking questions about God's justice, human behaviour, and Christianity. Then I have some indie published books. I was sent as part of a giveaway. I won book 1 in the Tales of Matthew Pollard, A Dawn Left Behind by Mark Elson. So we're following Matthew, 18, living his most carefree life. Loves nothing more than listening to his grandfather's stories and cruising through each day. He sees nothing but good times ahead. When tragedy strikes, Matthew is lost. His world has fallen apart and he is left with more questions than ever. With his obsessions for answers guiding him, Matthew is propelled into a world where everything he knows is meaningless and being human draws unwanted attention, where magic and power go hand in hand, where he serves an even more important purpose than he could ever imagined. So it must be a portal. That's very interesting. I then picked up a new book by Nataasha Madden. It's book 3 in the Finding Sanctuary series, and that's Wicked Cravings. So embrace the night, surrender to desire. In a world where darkness and desire intertwine, Susie's transformation into a vampire immerses her into a world of sensual dance of temptation and power. The lines between humanity and demon within her become hazy and she struggles to reconcile her own thoughts and desires. Additionally, the attraction she feels towards her former professor reveals unsettling answers. Passion, need, and hunger consume her, filling her with a mix of emotions. And unexpected encounter with a sexy siren brings her new things to light and she's never thought. Will Susie succumb to the intoxicating power of the night, or can she find love and salvation in the arms of those she shares her eternal desire? So this is an MMF vampire romance. I really do like Nataasha Madden's writing. I then have book 1 and book 2 in the Dragon Soul duet. So a completed duet. We have the Traitor Pyre, and then we move on to Renegade's Diplomacy. So these are just beautiful covers. They're quite hefty books though. He shall burn and burn bright he shall be. Abandoned by his people, everyone is the bastard son of a disgraced dragon rider. Forced to make plans to flee, he does not suspect one last visit to the dragons will change his life forever. The dragons are angry and only he can hear their voices. Out of spite, he steals an ancient artifact, which becomes the catalyst to changing the fate of the 3 kingdoms. All the royal diplomats dream of becoming their nation's hero when the palace is attacked by the Black Prince Ashad and his dreaded dragon. Larissa Storm flees burning city. If her country is to survive, she comes centuries. They need to have their own dragon riders. The key is her betrothed. It said that he sacked the blood. It said his sacred bloodline is the secret to controlling dragons. Is find him and bring him back before her king. Pity her betrothed isn't known for behaviour. And then we move on to book 2. So might need to do a lot of dragon reading. We then have The Unwinding Spiral by Peter. Oh, sorry. These books were by KJ Burrage, and this one is by Peter Hilker, which is book 1 in the Unity trilogy. So the land where humans wield elemental power and become magic's untouchable. Wave has escaped Bawindwi, a wizard-run program for teens called by the wrong god, but her anger is the world's only growing stronger, set on becoming the most powerful waterkin. Her life implodes when a star crashes to her feet and an ancient curse is reborn. Wijesekara is the heir to the one of the many thrones, but she hasn't been called by any of the gods. Terrified that something is wrong with her, she escapes the castle and doomed betrothal. When Win and Joseph meet, they forge an unlikely alliance as they try to stay ahead of the enemies. People from all over the country are drawn to the vortex of the lies and underpinning their society will be unraveled. When they try to leave, they false praise to the High King's wizard. Angry and afraid, Wind discovers the White Claw, the land lost to the ravages of legend, and meets an ancient creature who will reveal the true origins of her curse. Wave knows she must finally accept her power and confront the wizard, but can she master her emotions in time to save Air? Unite with her children. Meanwhile, the new queen firmly sits on her throne, fixated her ambitions on reassembling the long-lost magical crystal shards scattered across the realms generations ago. If these shards were to fall into the wrong hands, unimaginable chaos would be unleashed. As the quest to recover the 4 elusive crystal shards unfolds, the lines between good and evil blur, and the once united family finds itself torn asunder. With the fate of ethos hanging in the balance, will they emerge victorious in an epic struggle? And then I have 2 sort of sprayed edge books that I'm really interested in. The first one is A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwen. So I've heard this one. Look at those covers. I've heard this one. Dark Academia, Peaky Blinders. So Nina and Patrick were only 12 years old when they were whisked away from the disenfranchised mining town to the dazzling city to be tested for magical abilities. Nina's long life dream is to become an artisan, a powerful elemental mage who fulfills the city's grand ambitions, while Patrick wants to return to his family of craftsmen. Together they discover the devastating secret. Artisans aren't born, they're chosen. With this information, they take their future into their own hands. Patrick departs for home, while Nina finds her place in one of the rarest, most coveted types of artisans. When a craftsman revolution ignites years later, Nina is captured by Patrick's rebel group, and despite the years, he hasn't forgotten her. In fact, he needs her help for a mission that could shift the tides against the city, which she reluctantly accepts, battling the spark between them. So, like, enemies to lovers as well. So it's very interesting. And finally, I forgot I pre-ordered this. And it's the straight editions of A Language of Dragons. It's pretty. So we are in London in 1923. Dragons soar through the skies and protests erupt in the street. But Vivian Featherswallow isn't worried. She's going to follow the rules and get an internship studying dragon languages. By midnight, Vin has started a civil war. When her parents are arrested and her little sister, missing, all the safety Viv worked for is collapsing around her. So when a lifeline is offered to her in the form of a mysterious job, she grabs it. Arriving at Bletchley Park, she discovers that she has been recruited to uncover the secret hidden in dragon language. If she succeeds, her and her family can go home free. All go home together. If she doesn't, they die. But the more Viv learns, the more she realizes the bubble she's grown up isn't as safe as she thought. Eventually, she must choose what war is she really fighting. So I think it's kind of a alt history because Bletchley Park actually is just close to where I was born in England, is where a lot of the code cracking happened during the wars. So I'm just really interested in this one as well, even though I'm not a huge historical fiction person, but it's got dragons, so I couldn't be wrong. So let me know which of these books you've either read or really would like to hear my thoughts on. Until next time, let's use our voices to promote positive change in the world. Thank you and bye-bye for now.